So I've got fired. Yes. And I thought I should make this video, the podcast really, to share my thoughts on as raw as they can be, on the feelings and the thoughts that I'm going through as I woke up, kind of reflecting on what does that mean going forward? What does that mean for me and my family? What does that mean just in general, life? And but let's take a recap. A couple of months ago, 3 months to be exact, I made a video on how I essentially was on the brink of getting fired. The company that I work for, Lilium, had filed for insolvency. And that meant that we were essentially on a 3 months notice. I think we all took it lightly in a way, but at the same time, there was a sense of urgency that we all felt that time was running out. And with that in mind, that brought about a sense of focus, that brought about a sense of camaraderie. A lot of things in Lilium had to change over the last 3 months. But at the same time, we still had an optimism that surely, we will be able to carry on. I mean, this project is just too good to just let die. But yesterday, at the end, the CEO announced literally his first words was, yeah, it is with great sadness. And usually when that happens, we all know what that means. Lilium and our personal lives are about to change. And that's essentially what happened. Lilium had to cease operation, go into formal insolvency, and therefore terminate all contracts. So I'm now unemployed. As of January 1st, January 1st, no longer will be getting a salary from from the insolvency. December will be my last salary. Then after I will be on, from what I understand, garden leave. This is the first time hearing that, garden leave, which essentially means you're on a 3 months notice, but you have politely asked not to come to work. Basically say, my man, there's no work for you. It's finished. And so you're asked to basically stay home. And in a way, it's a benefit to the employees because they can have all the energies to look for work and look ahead without, of course, still with the 3 months period, which means end of March will essentially be the termination date for most employees who've been working there for beyond the probation period. And that will be that. So yeah, 1st of January, or effectively now, I mean, I'm on holiday right now, but yeah, effectively I'm a free agent. Scary but true. Scary but true. So I wanted to share a bit of my thoughts on, I mean, this is a candid, I've got the pictures of my family right here, and just because, family is everything. And it's really just all about, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for us as a family? What does that mean for life in general? And the first thought that comes to mind through all this and just kind of, you know, taking it all in, is that life is messy. you know. Life is messy. Life is, I did a podcast a couple of months ago as well about, asterisks, my the black dog on the far side of the picture, passing away, and how that brought about a sense of resilience and a sense of thankfulness for the years that we spent together. And in a way, the theme carries on. The theme kind of, of the underbelly of needing to be resilient carries on, but within the context that life is messy. When you work for someone, we're so quick to, I think in general, as employees, as people who are working for someone else, we we go into the trap of thinking that life is for certain, that the things that you and I do, the things that you and I are part of, brings a certain level of confidence that things will just carry on as they were always. But that's not really life. Life will change, and our life has changed. And it's to embrace that. I'm finding myself reminding myself and others, those who want to hear that, life has changed. Life will change. Life has to change. It's not, yeah, it's not something that one can run away from. That's one of the first thoughts that pops up to my mind. Life is messy. The other thought that really comes to mind as I'm going through all this and thinking about, the next steps and making plans to register as an unemployed person, at least in Germany, I think just for context, it's not all bad. And, in Germany, it's a very social centric country. So the ability to get your tax that you've been paying back as an unemployed person is quite high. So essentially, your unemployment benefits reach up to 68% of your net salary, which is a lot. So essentially, if you were living under your means by 30%, you're essentially breaking even with unemployment benefit, which is amazing. But having said that, you have to, of course, take that into account and really see how you can move forward, right? It's not that a given. But yeah, I think it is something that I'm thinking about a lot, is what's next. And I'm busy with other things, of course, as most of you know. MoloMolo is taking shape into MATLAB courses and e-learning and coaching courses and so forth. And of course, UAV for Africa, which is also a startup for interns that I help on a technical and strategic way of upskilling, and helping them being corporate ready in a way. But it's also quite important for me to think about the second point, which is a reflection on my part, is that when you work for someone, and it's something that William just this last few months cemented those thoughts, but I always had those thoughts anyway, which is, man, uh, being working for someone is not all roses, working for someone else is not all roses. And more importantly, I think probably the biggest thing that just kind of causes me a lot of, I don't know, not anxiety, but just almost vexes me to the point where I'm like, what am I doing? Is the thought that me giving over my future to someone else, he will look after it. And that's not the case at all. Which begs the question, should we really continuously pursue such an avenue? And I don't mean that everybody should quit the job. What I mean is, should one completely give all their energy to just an employment? Just let that sink in. Because when you're an employee, the school of thought is that, yeah, just, your biggest way towards financial freedom is to just give everything to your job and everything, want to maximize your income because that's your best way towards wealth creation. And then thereafter, you're able to essentially have that financial freedom. But during that process, how many can honestly say they were able to maximize their security, but also maximize their income in tandem? towards financial freedom and towards the life that you want and the life that you want to give to others, to your loved ones. And that's got me thinking a lot, especially these last 3 months, where you could have the best product, right? Lilium, you can have the best systems, you can have the best team. I mean, the Lilium team was probably the most amazing team I've worked for in my last 17 years, by far, by far. But yet, it wasn't enough. And everybody now is scrambling, from the CEO to down to your junior engineer, intern, all scrambling because their life has fundamentally changed. Some are more ready than others, of course, but nonetheless, the uncertainty is evident. So it begs to question, for me and maybe for you, what do you think? Should we be in a position in 2024 going to 2025 where your sole purpose is just to get a job, another employment, and not really focus on releasing your creative juices to the very things you can create? I mean, we are creatures of innovation. By far, human beings are innovative. Whether you think you are or not, it's not the question. The fact that you are able to raise a child takes innovation. It takes you to think outside the box to raise a child. But at the same time, we've got to shed the fear of what it means to give into something that could fail, because life is messy. That was my first point. Life is messy. Life is should be about failure and learning and not running away from it. So I do think it's something that one can take into account, should take into account when one brings about a certain level of change or life itself has changed. And it's not something that, yeah, should be discounted. So that's some of my thoughts. Like I said, this is very raw, me waking up this morning to the news. I mean, it's all over the news, probably. Um, Having the CEO announcing it. So, what else am I thinking about? The other thing that I'm thinking about is just the need for friendships and the fact that when you work, when you're working somewhere, especially in a highly competitive environment like tech, it's so easy to get confused. It's so easy to get confused that your primary goal is not so much technical output, but it's collaboration and networking. That for me is the primary goal, of course, because technical output will come out of a collaborative effort, potentially more sustainable than just an individual. And I've done a podcast on kind of perfectionism and the soloist syndrome and complex, and how that completely can crumble. But I do believe the primary goal of work, especially in a competitive environment, is collaboration, is networking. And that's one thing I'm really proud of, having been in Lilium for the past 4.5 years, is I've probably, out of the 17 years, I've made such amazing friends, so caring and so thoughtful. Think of my 1.5 years of being alone, almost 2 years of being alone during COVID. And some of these individuals were there for me and invited me home to their homes to have supper and just to encourage me while this family was not here yet. And for that, that will always be etched into my heart and to my mind, that the primary goal of every leader, of every technical lead, or just in general, life in general, never mind about titles, should be about networking and collaboration, should be about the next man, should be about hand in hand. Let's try and make this thing happen together. And whether I eventually go into a full-time business or part-time work in business or self-employment, that's one thing that I believe at the highest echelon of technical output. The one thing that Lilium did very well in snippets and in pockets was have incredible team dynamics that allowed us to achieve incredible things that maybe one day the world will get to see in a different form, in a different shape, maybe by the same team in a different way. And that's something that I'm looking forward to because I believe it will be still within the aspect of collaboration, the aspect of seeing each other for who we are and really translating that into something that is technically advanced and technically wonder. It's not easy losing your job. I don't know what you think. Leave it in the comments below. Tell me if have you ever lost your job? Have you gone to the brink of termination? How was it like? What was your thought process? What were you thinking? How were you feeling? Right now, I'm feeling good, feeling strong, feeling confident that one door closes, another door for sure will open. That's just how life is. But at the same time, knowing that you will have to adapt, put on your backpack and just go on a trail that potentially has no direction, clear direction. And in a way, it is suited for the African man or suited for the man that comes from a developing country because we come from an environment where life is not secure at all, whether through the lives of our loved ones, uncles, aunties, cousins. There was always someone that you looked at their lives, you're thinking, man, this guy is going through life. And it's something that we should always appreciate, something that we should always feel that we can do better, we can do something different and really take on the challenges that comes with it. So that is those are my thoughts, as raw as I can put them, unscripted. It is not easy. I mean, I don't have a sense of blame, let's say. I mean, I do know Lilium could have done better, no, but that's obvious, right? Um, that's obvious. So I don't really have a sense of, yeah, so and so did, that's his fault, or so and so's fault, or I just think life is messy. And sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, sometimes you feel like you're moving forward, sometimes you feel like you're moving backwards. I do remember financially during COVID time, my family moved way back financially. Why? Because I had lost my job and we were living in different countries, and I had to essentially pay bills for two houses. And it is what it is. It's life. You move forward, you move backwards, you move side, you move left, you move right. But yet you gotta do it with a smile and knowing that with your faith and hope in God and with your faith and hope in people around you, you'll be just fine. So that's me kind of giving my thoughts this morning, in a way, processing my thoughts, knowing that life is messy. It's important to network and collaborate. And the gift of families is such an important part. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening this on the podcast. And who knows what life will bring in 2025. I wish everybody a happy Christmas, a happy new year. Times of refreshing is coming, guaranteed. 2025 will be very interesting, and I do believe that with that, it will definitely refresh and strengthen the soul. Speak to you guys soon. Ciao.